Hello, welcome. Sorry, I'm just setting up the title and description. One more minute, please. If you'd like, please say hi in the chat. Then I will know who's there, because I really want to say hi to you as well. While we are waiting for more friends join us, I will briefly introduce today's Temari. I first shared this Snowflake design about 5 years ago when I just started my YouTube channel. Seems like this design is quite popular, and I've seen a few comments ask me to slow down a little bit and show more details for the process. So today we're gonna revisit this design and also see if we can add some new ideas to it. All right. Here I have a 8 cm core ball that has already been wrapped. To give it a little bit Christmas feel, like this one, I will add a layer of very fine and shiny metallic thread. I've included some useful search terms in the description below this live stream. You can try different types of thread, but I would suggest the threads about the same thickness of the sewing thread or even thinner. To be honest, when I buy thread, I don't always know if it will work for the idea I have in mind, but I believe every thread eventually will find its own purpose. So if the thread doesn't work well for wrapping the ball, you might still be able to use it together with embroidery floss later. Because, experimenting is the fun part of Temari. Now let me show you how I wrap the ball with a little bit sparkling points on it. To make sure you can see clearly, I will wrap a black ball, so I'll use black sewing thread and matching this colorful metallic thread. I'm going to hold one strand of the black sewing thread together with one strand of this metallic thread and wrap them around the ball at the same time. You can place these two spots closely. I will just place these two spots on the floor because the vertical distance between the spools and my hands helps the thread unwind very smoothly as I wrap. So I'll just combine these two threads together. Okay. Now let's just touch to the surface and stop wrapping. Okay. Alright, the reason why I combine the metallic thread with sewing thread because this metallic thread can be break quite easily. When I'm wrapping, if I pull the metallic thread too hard, it may snap. But at the same time, I still want to wrap the surface with a little bit tension because the wrapping threads need to be firm enough to hold our stitches later. So when we are wrapping, we just keep changing the direction. This helps spread the tiny sparkling points evenly across the whole surface. And you can randomly stop and check where are the areas not covered evenly, and then you can focus on those area and make more wraps around it. Okay, I think the surface is almost all covered. Just make a few more wraps. All right, now I will switch back to single strand of the sewing thread. Add one more very light layer over the top. So I still leave the sewing thread on the spool, but cut the metallic thread. Now I'm just wrapping with the sewing thread. Personally, I prefer the sparkle to shine softly from underneath the sewing thread. That's why I add another extra layer of the sewing thread itself. It gives the ball a more delicate and subtle glow. So the sparkles on the surface is not too much. But you can still adjust this part according to your own preference. Yeah. So the sparkle points now almost spread underneath the sewing thread. Okay. Then we can leave a little bit length of the sewing thread, because this is always the final step I do. I just make a few underground stitch to secure the sewing thread around the surface a little bit. That's gonna help the last layer of the sewing thread not to migrate or become slip of the surface. And then hide the tail. and cut the excess tail. Okay, that's basically the process how I add a little bit sparkle points on the ordinary cobalt. This one is the ball we're gonna use today. It was a navy blue color. Then I matched it with navy blue metallic thread as well. So you can see those blue sparkle points reflected underneath of the surface. To save some time for today's latest details, I'm going to skip the division process. I have already prepared a combination ball here. For this design, the division lines are made with the same thread that I will use for stitching because the division lines will remain visible and become part of the entire design. Okay. Now let's look at the C10 ball. It has 12 pentagons. What we are going to do is we will stitch another set of 12 pentagons across the original combination 10 structure. Together, the original guidelines and the new stitched lines will create the full geometric framework for our snowflake stitch. Now I'm gonna show you how to stitch the new 12 pentagons. We will start with finding a triangle here. This is a equilateral triangle, which means the three sides of the triangles are exactly same. And the points where these three lines meet is the center of this triangle. What we're gonna do is we place our embroidery thread gently against the surface of the ball. Don't pull it tightly because the ball surface is curved. And make sure the thread passes through the middle of the triangle here. At the same time, your embroidery floss is parallel to the bottom of the triangle. And the thread will cross the two sides of the triangle. The crossing points are where we need to place our pins. Like this. Then we can use the same method to find the position of the next points. We just rotate the ball. Make sure the thread passes the middle point. Meanwhile, parallel to the edge, to the bottom of the triangle. And place the pin. Rotate the ball again, find the neighbor triangle. Same step. Place another pin. Okay, now we have find 5 points. Then we're gonna stitch a pentagon along with this path. I'm going to use 2 strands of thread for today's design. Then I will only make one round. We just make a long underground stitch to secure the thread and bring the needle out at where you're gonna start. Just follow the path. You can use one strand of the thread and stitch 2 rounds. My original design was using white cotton threads, 1 strand, and make 2 rounds. But today I just want to try use the metallic thread, see what it gonna looks like. Or maybe you can even try 1 strand of the white cotton thread and then add another round with silver metallic thread. You can adjust the design depending on the type and thickness of thread you are using. Okay, we have done 1 pentagon. I will just move to find another triangle and do the position. So using this method, we don't need to use a ruler to do the measurement. I'll just start from here. Same method. Find a triangle first and attach your embroidered thread on the surface. Pass the middle point of the triangle. Make sure it's parallel to the bottom line of the triangle. And then find the 2 intersections with the 2 sides of the triangle. And rotate your ball. Find the next points. Next one. Next one. Okay. Then we just keep continue. Stitch. I'll just bring my needle here. And second pentagon is done. Now we are making the third one. I'll just start probably here. From now on, I will just roughly estimate the space by eye. I'm running off this thread, so I'm gonna change the thread. Okay, find the next triangle. So roughly start here. A little bit lower. Here, there is a little details we need to keep an eye. So at this intersection is where 3 pentagons gonna meet. We need to weave the threads carefully. Well, I will show you. This one you probably can see clearly. Make sure these 3 lines interlock with one another. So here I already have 2 lines. This one is on top of this. What we're gonna do is use the eye end of the needle, bring the needle, bring the thread underneath the previous one and bring it out. So you can see these 3 lines are now interlocked with each other. So for later stitch, whenever there are 3 lines meeting at intersection, we need to do a little, we need to pay attention to it, because at that intersection, the 3 lines need to interlock with each other, like this one. We already have 2 lines here. We are stitching the 3rd line. Now we need to bring the thread underneath of the previous line, like this. I'm gonna change my thread here, running all of it. If you have any questions during the live stream, feel free to ask in the chat. If I can't answer the question straight away, I will note them down and I will answer in the recap. We just continue at where we just left. Now we need to do the weaving. Make sure these three lines are interlocked. Hi, Ellen. Thank you. Again, three lines are meeting at the intersection. Do another weaving. I just accidentally scoop a sewing thread, so it's stuck there. So when you do the weaving, just make sure you are not crossing through the sewing thread. That's why we are using the eye end of the needle. Thank you. This snowflake pattern was not originally designed by me. The first time I saw this pattern was on a Temari book. I can show you the cover of the book, but probably not the content of the book due to the copyright issue. In that book, the snowflake, the basic structure is the same. The only difference is the original design was combined white cotton thread and metallic thread, silver metallic thread. When I started Temari around 6 years ago, I started by copy others' design or follow other people's instruction. But after you have worked with Temari for a while, then you will naturally try to develop your own idea. That's why today's live stream, I want not just want to share the stitch method. I also want to share how to add some new ideas and create your own design, the ideas and the creative parts behind the Temari. This is the book. The snowflake pattern is in this book. If you have the same book, or if you can find any resources online, you can have a look. Yes, we also will have the similar stitching process later, which is quite similar to the hemp leaf pattern. You remember in the hemp leaf pattern, we're using the herringbone stitch to connect all the pine needles, and we follow a path, the diagonal path. And when we make a round, later at the end, we will get back to where we started. I saw this concept in Barbara's book. It's called Temari Techniques. She introduced the concept as continue stitching path, which means you follow a specific path and eventually you will get back to where you started. Just make sure when you do the weaving, you use the eye end and not scooping any sewing thread. I think I've got 2 more pentagon left. See where I can start here. I really like use 2 strands of thread for some of the design because it makes the final look more dimensional, but the drawback is it can twist easily. So when we stitch with 2 strands of thread, we need extra patience with it and make sure it's not twisted. Not sure where I have left this tail. I'll just cut it. Okay. Where is another one? This one here. Metallic thread is more slippery than cotton thread. So when we stitch with metallic thread, we can make a few more underground stitch to secure the thread. Okay, I think I've finished all the pentagons. If you ever find any excess thread left over, what you can do is use your eye end of the needle to hide those thread underneath of the sewing thread. And yeah, okay, done. So by stitching these 12 pentagons, we have create those 5-pointed star shape. Later on, we're gonna go to stitch snowflake inside those each shape. But first, let's look at those diamonds. Not sure if you know there's a Japanese brand called Mitsubishi. This part is actually looks like its logo. This one. So in my original design, I divided each side of the triangle by 3 equal sections. Then I add pine needle stitches inside every diamond. There are 2 ways to stitch this part. I will show you the first method. So first method is just stitch pine needles separately inside each diamond. I will just bring my needle, start any side of the diamonds and bring my needle out around 1/3 of the edge of the diamonds. A little bit too much. Just make a short stitch to bring it back a little bit. Okay, that's roughly 1/3 of the side. When the final line crossing the intersection, you can make a small tacking stitch. Then 1 pine needle stitch in the diamond shape is done. And there is another method I will demonstrate on another ball here. As I mentioned before, it's similar to the herringbone stitch to connect those pine needles for the hemp leaf pattern. We follow one continuous and repeated path around the ball, and eventually the stitching path brings us back to where we started. So let's just show you what does that mean. Again, I just randomly pick any diamond and bring my needle out around the 1/3 of any side of the diamonds. So this is about the 1/3 of the diamonds. And I'll just bring the needle out to the neighboring diamonds. Again, bring to its neighboring diamond. Eventually, you will get back to where you started. See, we are getting back to where we started. Because I'm still have a little bit thread of left, I'm gonna continue my stitch without breaking the thread. What I do is I still bring my needle in from the 1/3 of the side of this diamond, and then I just bring my needle down a little bit. For this side, it's around the 2/3 around 2/3 place of the side, and then continue the same process. I'll just bring my needle here and go to the neighboring diamond again, roughly the same place, and continue. I'm just eyeballing the space. The measurement doesn't need to be very perfect, because later on we're gonna make a small tacking at the intersection. That little tack can help the threads meet at the intersection neatly. And we are back into starting point again. So these two sides already been fully divided by 3. I'm gonna finish here because I'm running off this thread. I will just demonstrate another round, and then we'll move to the snowflake part. Again, we just randomly pick any side of the diamond. Yeah, roughly 1/3 of this side. Go to the opposite, and and bring your needle out to the neighboring diamond. You can see every time when I trying to find the position, I just use the thread attach the surface. This reason is because the thread itself actually will lead you, will guide you where is the needle enter. So we can just naturally follow where the thread leads you and bring the needle in and out, instead of using a ruler. And we are back into where we just started. Again, we just bring the needle out but move downside a little bit. So then we can continue here. This is the final stitch in this section. Before I pass it, I make a small tacking stitch here. Then I can continue. So whenever it's a final stitch, we just make a small tack. Here, this is the last stitch here, so we make a tack. And we finish this round. I won't demonstrate the whole parts, but basically just repeating the same process until all those diamonds fully divided by 3 by the pine needles. Okay. Yesterday when I was preparing today's live stream content, I was thinking about some other ways we could fill in these diamonds. And then I just did a little bit experiment like 1 hour ago before the live stream. The first idea I'm thinking about is using very thin thread and make the pine needle stitch much denser. If you have a metallic thread at home, you can have a close look at it. Most of the metallic let's see if you can see properly. Most metallic threads are made of several strands twisted together, and they can be untwisted quite easily. See, so this metallic thread I'm having, it's twisted by 3 strands. So whenever I need a very fine metallic thread, I just cut a piece of cut a piece to the length I need and separate the 3 strands. And then this gives me 3 individual strands, but very thin, like this. Let me compare those 2 finished pine needles. This one was stitched with the metallic thread as it is, using with all the strands together. As you can see, this one is a little bit heavy, and this one, pine needles, it was stitched with one single thread after I untwisted the metallic thread. And you can see for a dense pine needle like this, a thicker metallic thread makes the final look heavy, but with the thinner metallic thread, it looks like the soft rays of light spreading out, and the shimmer is much more gentle. Because for this design, the snowflakes are the main focus, so I don't want the design in the diamonds to compete with the snowflake. But with those very fine metallic thread, I still can add a little bit of details and character in a much more softer way. And I also tried another 2 pine needle stitch. This one I combined white and light blue metallic thread, stitching pine needles in different lengths. You can see these are shorter and these one are longer. And this one I just using 1 strand of normal metallic thread with shorter stitches. And this is like little flower or tiny snowflake. So the elements inside those diamonds can be changed according to your own taste or the types of thread you have at home. You can explore and experiment and see what happens. Okay, now we're gonna begin stitch the snowflake. I'll back to this ball. I probably can keep continue with this thread. In my original design, the snowflake start stitch around the center along with all the 10 guidelines. I already did one here. You can see this stitch method is actually the basic method we often used to create solid shape on Temari. Solid shape and open shapes are very common in different Temari designs. I have 2 balls here, like this one. A solid shape is stitched from the center outwards, gradually filling the whole shape. Like this one, it's a solid diamond. And for open shape, we usually leave the middle empty, like this one. It's an open star. Usually start away from the center and leave the middle area empty, because usually we can add some other decorative elements in the middle. So for today's snowflake, this center part, the snowflake center, it's similar to solid shape, but we just stitch along the 10 guidelines. Let me show you. We just bring out our needle very closely to the center. For every stitch, we bring the needle out on the left of the guideline, and then make a very short stitch and bring the needle to the next guideline. You probably can't see very clearly for the first few rounds because it's very crowded in the middle, but after I stitch a few rounds, you will clearly see the shape. Yeah, make a very short stitch along the guideline. Just make it bigger. We just keep stitch until you get the size of the center you want. Mine is about 5 millimeters. You can adjust that, depends on the thickness of your thread and the size of your bow. Okay. For the center of the snowflake, if you are using a cotton thread, I would suggest use a shorter length because after a few rounds, the cotton threads make it very fluffy or worn. But I'm using metallic thread today, so it won't trouble me a lot. I probably can make the center a little bit bigger. Yeah. Just make another few rounds. Yeah, I'll probably finish here. Now we down the center of the snowflake. This kind of solid shape is often used as the center of flower. Previously, I showed you a bowl with a flower center made of lots of French knots. You can also use this solid round shape instead of the flower center. Now we stitch those petals, branches of the snowflake. The stitch method itself is very easy, just needs a little bit patient, and we need to pay attention to where your stitch enters and exits the bowl, because these points will affect the final shape of each petal. For the longer guideline, I make 3 branches. For these shorter guidelines, I'll just make 2 branches. I won't worry too much about if the 2 strands of thread twisted or not, because I think even though the threads are twisted, but it makes the snowflake looks more dimensional. So I actually like the twisted effect. I'm gonna change my thread here. After I done this snowflake, which is same as our original design, we're gonna explore some new ideas. You know, there's say in the world there's no snowflakes that are exactly same. So let's just experiment with different snowflake shapes and see what we can have. Last petal. Oopsie. I'm actually quite happy with the 2 strands of metallic thread. It really makes the snowflake looks very dimensional. You can stitch the same snowflake pattern inside the remaining star shape, but yeah, as I said, there's no identical snowflakes. So I've collected some simple snowflake drawings to give us a few more ideas. Oopsie, my daughter. That's my daughter. She set up the screen for herself. Okay. Oh yeah, I actually really want to share this app. It's called Milanote. I've been using it for a few months already, and I really like it. In the past, when I found a design I like, I would like just take a screenshot or save it somewhere. Everything ended up in a different places. Then when I wanted to use those ideas, I could never remember where I have saved them. Not sure if you have the same problem, but Milanote, this app, has helped me to fix this issue. So whenever I find something useful like pictures or links, even social accounts or documents like PDF, I can quickly save to it. So this is where I save the Temari ideas. This one. Okay. Now let's look at some of those snowflake designs. You may notice that most of the snowflakes are designed with 6 petals. Some of them are 8 petals. We are having a combination 10 division, so we have the star shape here. We have 10 guidelines, so which means we're gonna have 10 petals. But it's okay. We can just choose a simple design and adapt it into a 10 petal snowflake. For example, like this one, and this one, and this one. This center of the snowflake is quite similar to Kiku pattern in Temari. We probably can achieve those shape by Kiku stitch. And this one, even though it's a 6-pointed star, but we can try stitch 5-pointed star in the middle. It can be a solid star or open star instead of 6-pointed star. And we can also change the shapes or the combinations of those little branches. You can see this one just have one branch, this one got 2 branches, and this one got 3 branches. So we can adjust the layer of the branch to also make the snowflakes looks a little bit different. And you can see there are also the dots. We probably can achieve by make French knots. And this branch here, you can see there is one layer of thicker. The bottom layer is thicker and the top layer is thinner. So we can also explore the threads we have, adjust the branch by using different threads, like the thicker threads for the bottom one and the fine thread for the top one, or combine with cotton threads or metallic threads using 1 strand or 2 strands. So yeah, we can create a lot of combinations and possibilities. It's called the Milanote. So it can be used for your daily life or for your design journey. Like for me, I put everything in one folder called Temari, and then I just put different things in different folder, like all my design Temari patterns. I put in a folder called Temari pattern, and I put different theme like flower inspired Temari, animal, Christmas, and under Christmas I just put all my Christmas Temari in this folder. And also I create another board with all those snowflake drawings. It's very handy, and it can be accessed from your phone or your iPad or even computer website. So I think I'm finding it's very helpful and been quite enjoying using it. Okay, I'm gonna try a few different shapes of the snowflake. These different shapes of the snowflake. I'm gonna try the Kiku pattern for the center. Again, I still just do eyeballing for the space because the center is quite small. Still bring the needle out very close to the center. Maybe too close. Let's try 5 millimeters away from the center. Yeah. Now I will make another very short stitch between these 2 guidelines, around 1 centimeter away from the center. There is one thing I've been emphasized all the time. I named it scooping motion, which means for every stitch, just make sure you picking up enough wrapping thread, maybe the thread deeper, because this really help you help your stitches to stay at the place where you want without any migration. All right, done. That's how the center stitched with Kiku pattern looks like. And then, but I'm feeling like the center of the center part is a little bit empty. Maybe I can use single strand of metallic thread to add a little bit pine needles and in the middle. Let me try. No, looks fine though. And then I'll probably make a one branch for this short guideline and then 2 branches for the long guideline. See how it looks like. Oh, no, 1 branch here. Just change this right here. Sorry for the typo. Okay, done. So basically we just change the center of the snowflake. Instead, use the Kiku pattern instead of the solid round shape. And we also adjust the numbers of the branch. This one called last branch. So we change the shape of the snowflake. Because this is in the middle, it's a simple 10 division. We need to find out the patterns which can be easily stitched on based on simple 10 division. So the common patterns would be stars, can be pentagons, can be Kiku patterns, or pine needle stitch. We can try to combine maybe a pentagon, combine one layer of pentagon and add another layer of star on top of it. So there's few different possibilities. For this one, I'm gonna try stars. I'm gonna make a small one. Roughly bring my needle around 5 millimeters away from the center. Still just eyeballing here. Okay, one star is done. I will try to make another layer of star, but cross with it. See how it looks like, because I think the center is too simple. Okay, so this is now, it looks like stitched with two open stars at the center. And then again, we can use the similar method to stitch the petals. Maybe I can try something like this. We just subdivide one branch again. So for the first layer, we just make a longer arm of it and then subdivide with another little branch. See how it looks like. Just add another layer of the branch at the middle. It seems like a little bit empty in the middle. See how it looks like. Not sure the one side down the other branches what it gonna looks like, but let's have a try. Because this petal is quite complicated, then for this guideline, we just make a easier one. So the whole design, the final design won't look too busy. I'll just make one layer of a very small branch here. And then make a big one here. I actually doesn't like this design quite a lot, but yeah. But basically, this is the idea behind it. How we can change the shape of the snowflake by changing the center or change the petals and try combine different thread. Next live stream will be on next Wednesday, same time. Again, we still explore snowflake patterns, but it's still based on combination 10, but we will stitch snowflake patterns in triangles or hexagons. In that way, we will have more classic shapes of snowflakes with 6 petals. I will share more details about next live stream in the recap, so you can keep an eye on it. This ball is 8 centimeters in diameter. The space for the snowflake is still quite limited. If you have a bigger ball, you can definitely challenge some more complex patterns. You can use your own method to explore some resources online or from books. See what different snowflake patterns, and then try to experiment it on Temari. Okay, this one is done. I will spend another 2 minutes show you another center of snowflake using pentagon, and then probably pretty much of today then. I'll try on this one. I'm gonna make 2 open pentagon, or maybe a solid pentagon in the middle, and then a open pentagon. So for a solid pentagon, because this is a simple 10 division, when we make solid pentagon, bring the needle very close to the center and skip one guideline. Bring your needle to the next one, make a short stitch, and again skip one guideline, make a short stitch, skip, and you're back to the starting point. We just do another maybe 3 rounds. Make another round. Okay, this is a solid pentagon, and then we make another open pentagon. Just bring our needle maybe around 1 millimeter away. Leave like 1 strand of thread space between the pentagon. Yeah, that's the center looks like now. Then we just add the petals. Use stitch whatever, how many layers you want. I just make a few of it. Yeah, the remaining process are similar. I'm not gonna finish this one for today. Okay, so this is the original design, a solid shape. Then we tried use Kiku pattern to make another shape of center and change the layer of the branches. And this one we tried 2 stars, 5 pointed stars in the middle, and try to subdivide the branches. And this one we stitched to 1 solid pentagon and along with another open pentagon as the center. Yeah, that's basically how we be, adding new ideas or be creative, and you know sh- a little bit more share. I'm sharing a little bit more about the thinking and design process behind the stitching. I hope this can give you some ideas for creating your own snowflakes. All right, that's about everything for today. Uh, I will recommend waiting for about 12 to 24 hours before watching the replay, because YouTube usually needs some time to process a live stream. Once the processing is complete, then the chat replay and also the subtitles should become available. And during that time, I also need a little bit time to prepare the recap and also add the 10 steps to the replay description. By that time, you can it can be much easier for you to navigate to the sections that you want to watch it again. So yeah. Yeah, thank you. Yes. It can has lots of possibilities. This is based on C10 simple 10 division, so which limited our possibility a little bit maybe. So next live stream we're gonna try the snowflakes in a triangle. Then we probably can have more patterns to explore together. Yeah. Our next live stream will be the same time on Wednesday. I will share more details about the next one in the recap as well. Okay, thank you. Thank you so much for joining me today. Have a good night, and maybe to our friends on the other side of the earth, enjoy the rest of your day. Bye bye. See you. Bye bye.